Hello, good morning. Now that yesterday we have filled up the raised bed with lots of home compost, about 60 gallons of home compost, which is all harvested from the kitchen garden compost. It's extremely delightful. Feels so good to use the home compost in a raised bed in that good quantity. But anyways, coming to planting the fall garden or sowing the seeds, I would like to say how to plant them effectively. Yes, it's always preferred and suggested to plan your raised bed and plant accordingly. And including me, I never tend to do that plan inside, but what I do is, if I have an idea of the crops that I want to grow in that particular season, I usually bring out all the seeds and lay them in the way we are saying. So the key here is to plant it effectively. So we have to think of how much sun this raised bed is getting, what is the tendency of the plant, how big does it grow, or how long does it take for it to produce the crop we are expecting out of it, and all of those factors. So I just want to show on how I did this raised bed today. So when I got my seeds, because I have a structure, I wanted to grow some peas here. So I did go ahead. I'm done with planting everything. I just did a video but somehow lost it. But anyways, I went ahead and planted a lot of, at least a half of the packet of the sugar snap peas right there. And when I plant something in a particular spot, I always have a reason on why that particular seed is going into that spot. And in this case, this is just the good pathway for the kids to just walk in the garden, and when they come out, this is really easy for them to pick the peas even if they stand there. So that's why I go ahead and plant them right in that particular area. It doesn't grow really well, so the peas usually I don't go ahead and sow there. Even if I sow, I don't expect a big crop out of it right there, but they grow very well on both ends of those trellis, that little trellis and here. And that is what we have to take notes and observe on what grows better in which area in our garden. So I went and sowed a lot of sugar snap peas right there. And one another thing to note when we are planting the peas is, I never knew in the past on how much one pea plant can produce. So if I planted about 15 pea seeds, I always thought I'll be getting a great harvest, a lot of peas, which is not the case. You do get a handful almost every single day, and so plant according to your needs. So having about, for me, I planted about 20 seeds here because I need a lot of peas for the kids to snack on or to just saute, because if I plant less, they never make it inside the house, which is still fine. So coming to the chives here, I wanted to plant a herb in this corner, and I do have a lot of ants, and this area of the raised bed gets a lot of sun, and the soil keeps shrinking down because of the ants, because of the wood that we have right here and right there. All of this, I cannot avoid that unless until I plan to kill them, which I'm not planning to. So that is why I sowed some chives in here, and I sowed a really thick layer of chives, because even if the ants are going to feed on the seeds, I don't know if we can see, but there is a lot of ant activity going in here. So even if they're going to take away some seeds, I'll still have a few of the seeds sprouting, and eventually they'll multiply. And this corner is going to look very pretty visually also when we walk through the garden. If I have the chives flowering, it will look really pretty, and it is perennial. So I can keep topping off the chives, the little bulbs. If the soil shrinks down, it is still okay for me to keep topping it off, and that suits perfectly for that corner. And coming to this section, I have planted the beets about 6 inches away from the edging of the raised bed, and that goes all the way right there. And I have sowed about 1.5 feet length of the beet seeds, and the spinach went in there because I'll have the pea plants going on, and the spinach will be a nice thick bed of greens supporting the pea roots, because eventually these pea plants may produce around January is what I'm guessing, my past experience. I don't know how the weather is going to be this year. So January, February, by then, if the blanket of the spinach greens have picked up, then it will have a good, nice and warmth around the base of the pea plants, and I can keep harvesting the spinach too, and so on. Like every packet of seeds that I have in a particular area definitely had a reason on why they are being planted in that particular spot. Another big thing that we always have to consider when we are planting is keep in mind the future seasons as well. So if you are planting something right now, you also have to keep in mind, if that plant is going to sit here until May, do I have space to sow my spring crop or summer crop? Will I be able to have that space in a particular area? So if I have radishes sown here, maybe within 2 to 3 months I'm just going to remove them and I'll go ahead and sow more greens or whatever that fits this particular location in that particular season. That's how I planted my cauliflowers right here. This area I'm not going to sow anything until May, and by then I'll have this crop, and then I'll go ahead and sow my okras or whatever summer crop is there. And I also went ahead and sowed some bunching onions and other onion seeds all around this area, not very strategically. I just threw in a lot of seeds. Whatever comes up will come up, and that's a great companion plant for the cauliflowers. And this area again gets good amount of sunlight, better than that spot right there. So that's one variety of spinach seed, and this is another variety of spinach seed. So this is going to sprout faster and bolts much faster too, because of the amount of heat that it gets. And I'm okay for this seed to sprinkle here. Once it bolts, I'm okay for all the seeds to self sow here. To self sow in this particular spot, and I don't mind it if it keeps growing all through the season. Once they self sow, eventually in the summer the seeds are going to have the right temperature in this particular area, because it will be filled up with the summer crop. And if the spinach seeds sprout here or there all through the summer, that's a big bonus for me. So plan and plant in a way that what you're going to plant next or plant later in the future seasons, what you can remove easily, how much space does that particular plant take. Keep all of these factors in mind and plant it accordingly. And I hope this helps a little bit, because this is something that I have learned eventually as I was planning and planting my garden, and I hope this video will be really helpful. Thank you so much.